What does a real giant among donkeys look like? How will an animal look that represents a mixture of a pig, a cow, and a dog? Why shouldn't we mess with the Belgian drafts? In this episode, you'll learn about the most dangerous horse in the world, as well as about other interesting farm animals. Belgian Draft. Horses are very kind, compassionate, and loving creatures. At least that's how most people know them. Do you know that there are also quite dangerous breeds, saying that it's better not to mess with them just by their appearance? The Belgian draft horse is one of them. These guys are a real mountain of muscles that can carry the heaviest loads. The Belgian draft weighs about a ton and is 67 inches tall. And all this is really only thanks to their body proportions. Relatively short legs are compensated by such a mountain of muscles that the visitors of the nearest gym faint with envy. For farmers, these horses can plow huge fields and carry loads weighing up to 3 tons. And if rumors are to be believed, these horses can even herd cattle. So if someone breaks into their territory and they don't like it, you can only blame yourself for the bruises you get. Otherwise, when the situation's calm, these horses are quite kind to everyone around them and are not aggressive at all. These horses are docile, friendly, and undemanding to affection, but they easily get attached to a person who shows it. That's why, among other things, they're so fond of breeding on farms. Shire horse. This is the name of another amazing breed of horses that came to us from Britain. First of all, they're distinguished not by a mountain of muscles, but by their great height. At different times, these animals set many world records as the biggest and tallest horses in the world. Their height can reach 87 inches at the withers. Initially, these horses were used by knights, as only a shire could carry a heavy fighter and is equally heavy armor at the same time. Then, over time, priorities changed and lighter horses became necessary for military purposes. But shires were in demand in trade and agriculture as well. They worked in the fields, in the cities, in the ports, and in the mills. For many years, there was a huge demand for massive, strong horses with a balanced character, and breeders tried to develop important qualities in them. So today, they've become quite versatile fighters that can be used for wagon rides, all types of horseback riding, weddings, and even promotional events. In Britain, people thought they needed a big horse. Genghis Khan was of the diametrically opposite opinion and chose a Mongolian horse, one the size of a pony, as his faithful companion. On the outside, it may seem like a completely wrong decision that makes no sense at all. Time and real examples have proved otherwise. Unprecedented endurance and amazing self-sufficiency of these horses provided them with vacant places not only in military campaigns of former years, but also in our time. And although nowadays horses are used exclusively for peaceful purposes, the ways of their keeping and breeding have not changed a bit. All year round, semi-wild Mongolian herds graze on the expanses of their homeland and absorb all the natural charms. It's interesting that these horses do not need any feed at all. They can eat whatever the will of chance provides all year long. They don't need any stables or even special sheds. Whether it's 85 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit, they'll feel great either way. In winter, they grow an amazing coat and gain fat, which makes them safe from frost. At the same time, the horses do not only exist in any conditions, but also walk 50 miles a day. At the same time, ordinary riding horses are famous for their performance, which is about half that of Mongolian horses. Mares are milked 6 times a day, getting about 600 liters of milk a year. They do not drink it raw, but prepare a fermented milk drink, kumis. Horsehair is used to make strings and ropes, and hides are used to make some articles of clothing. Simply put, it's not a horse but some kind of treasure that can be useful in everyday life and play a key role during a battle. No wonder Genghis Khan chose it for his campaigns. Yakutian horse. Our next guest lives in his homeland in Yakutia, and is famous for its amazing frost resistance. These ungulates stay outdoors all year long and can live at over 100 degrees Fahrenheit to negative 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Can you even imagine it? Yakut horses manage to do this thanks to their special anti-freezing arsenal. It includes a stocky body, rather short legs, and a small neck. Because of the miniature limbs, the area of contact with the cold is also reduced, and it becomes much easier for the Yakut horse to endure the frost. These horses are also heavier than the others. With their small size, they can weigh all 1,100 pounds, which isn't bad. The increased weight allows them to retain heat for longer, and the dense coat, up to 3 inches in length, provides reliable insulation between the inside and outside environment. But this is all nonsense in principle. Many ungulates can do this. The main secret of Yakut horses hides inside them. Over the course of evolution, these creatures have learned to control their vascular system to a first-class degree. They can change the width of their veins and arteries and regulate blood circulation. Depending on what the situation requires, Yakut horses can heat up one or another part of their body. They're equally adept at managing their metabolism. Their metabolism accelerates in spring when it's time to love and there's plenty of food around. In winter, however, everything's completely different, which saves the horses time and effort in searching for food. I'll tell you more, these horses in general have learned to be virtually independent from humans. They walk on their own, resolve their conflicts, build families, and find food and a place to sleep. They only need humans to treat their ailments. But we're not going to make this whole issue about horses, are we? The world is full of other record-breaking creatures with unique looks. The kind whose existence is hard to believe without video, or at least photographic evidence. The Belgian blue, by the way, is one such cow. The myostatin gene was broken in this cow, which caused a kind of malfunction in her body. But more on that later. For now, let's take a closer look at the Belgian blue. Our Mr. Olympia from the world of cows can weigh more than 1.2 tons, and 80% of all weight will go to muscles. Looking at this giant, you don't even want to call it a dairy breed, but it is. To be more precise, the Belgian blue was originally intended solely as a dairy cow breed, but in the course of their development, a rather tricky protein called myostatin was broken. It's directly responsible for building muscle mass. Myostatin is a kind of limiter that stops the body from doing anything stupid, and if you turn it off, this is what happens. It may seem like everything is great and farmers can be happy. They have a cow with 1 ton of clean meat at their disposal. That's just heaven, isn't it? Actually, not really. The fact is that the Belgian blue forces a person to feed it almost 24 hours a day, as well as provide the best possible living conditions. Due to the small amount of fat in the body, it's very easy for her to freeze, which cannot but sadden a person. To put it simply, caring for such a cow becomes a challenge that's not always possible to realize. And Ankole Watusi. Okay, we've already talked about cows with huge muscles. What else could I think of that would make all the people oohing and eyeing in amazement? Oh yeah, I'll invent a bull with giant horns. This must have been Mother Nature's monologue when she created Watusi. This representative of cattle was bred in Africa. It was the result of crossing an Egyptian cow with a zebu. Oh, I wish I could have seen the scientists' faces when they first looked at what they'd bred. It's an 8-foot-tall bull weighing 88 pounds. Wait a minute, that's not the size of a cow. That's the size of its headdress alone. The animal itself weighs up to 1,750 pounds. It's acquired such beautiful horns for a reason. In fact, they're vital for it. It's literally a hotbed of useful blood vessels involved in heat exchange that's hidden in them. It's thanks to these horns that the cow can calmly endure even extremely hot temperatures. Her stamina is like an art form in itself. But except for that, the Watusi has little to offer a man. Her milk yield is like goat's milk. You can't get meat from this cow either. In general, if you breed it, it's only for your soul and aesthetic pleasure. Poitou donkey. Mammoths have been extinct for a long time, they said. Sure. Who's that then? Well, jokes aside, although there is a bit of a mammoth in our next guest, this is a Poitou donkey. And yes, I'll tell you right away, unfortunately, he didn't see any mammoths. According to official data, these animals were bred only in the 15th century, somewhere in France. They were nurtured and cherished, maintained the purity of the breed, and even sold abroad. And they did it quite successfully. Imagine yourself in the buyer's shoes. You're shown a donkey with such amazing hair, how can you refuse? In the skillful hands of stablemen, the unkempt hair was transformed into a soft and silky blanket, and it was a pleasure to sit on it. Even a saddle was not necessary here. It worsened the sensation of riding. But then came a period of war, and the donkey actively participated in it, carrying ammunition, carrying the wounded, and all that sort of thing. Unfortunately, the population of the animal decreased greatly, and, if legends are to be believed, at some point amounted to almost 50 heads. At this point, the Special Nature Protection Services caught on and took the animals under strict control and protection. Now it seems the population is gradually returning to normal. Vietnamese pot-bellied. We've just looked at the guest from France, so let's also take a look at an animal that originated in Southeast Asia. If you've already realized, we're talking about a pig. Not about a simple one, but about the Vietnamese pot-bellied pig. This giant from the world of pigs has an upturned nose, many, very many folds, always grunting and swishing its tail. Because of this amusing characteristic, the pig is also named the pug. At the time when it first appeared, not many people cared. The main idea of the pig was that it was very large, ate only grass, and was clean. In short, a real treasure. And so people were already dreaming about how they would buy a pen for such pigs and become unimaginably rich and happy, when suddenly the whole truth was revealed. The Vietnamese pot-bellied piglets were really very large. One individual weighed up to 330 pounds. The piglets of 7 to 8 months of age were used for meat. Further keeping of animals was economically unprofitable. And by this age, the pigs managed to gain at best 176 pounds, which was twice lower than their possible index. Moving on, we come back to the question of nutrition. I said they eat nothing but grass. On paper, it seems great, and the pig will be clean, proper, but in reality, it's not. Pigs definitely need to be fed to keep their meat juicy and flavorful. Otherwise, it'll turn out not at all what you expect. So the saggy belly of the pot-bellied pigs was just a lure to give the false impression of high-quality meat. The ideal conditions for this breed are semi-wild grazing. This is how they're kept in their homeland. The pigs are perfectly adapted to live independently, and thanks to their strong immunity, they're not even afraid of snowy winters. This is not at all what they're offered on large farms, so the question of breeding on them is extremely controversial and ambiguous. What they definitely raise on farms, because there's nothing else to do with them, are Dong Chow chickens. Wait, maybe they're not chickens, but some kind of dinosaurs that have survived to this day. Do chickens have legs that big? It turns out that, yes, these creatures do not get sick and feel great, and their giant paws are a specialty of their breed. Dinosaur birds are bred in Vietnam. The total population is only about 300. These Spartans of the feathered world are really strong and even aggressive. And what do we expect from creatures with such capabilities? Cocks, according to sources, even reach 22 pounds in weight. Hens are not lagging behind and weigh only 2.2 pounds less. They grow beautifully as well. The only thing a farmer needs to know is that Dong Tao chickens prefer insect-based feeds. They like greens, but not too much, so food needs to be balanced for a healthy hen. And if you now think these Dong Chow chickens are the peak of weirdness from the world of farm animals, just take a look here. I'm sure none of you were expecting this. It turns out that there's also so-called Baltics, or a hybrid of cow, dog, pig, and sheep that exists in nature. At least that's what it appears to be. Truth be told, there was, of course, no mad crossbreeding involved. This is a rather unusual breed of sheep. It got such a non-standard appearance from its progenitor, the Belgian Texel. The breeder who was responsible for the name of the new breed didn't think long and simply combined the first syllables of the old name, Bell and Tex. The resulting animal has gained about 44 pounds in weight, thinner bones, and a genuine love of exercise. The heavy and strong muscles of this lamb are striking from any angle you look at it. These muscles give a noticeable increase in the amount of meat from a single animal. In addition, the final product turned out to be lean and quite tender, which only pleased farmers and pushed the previous breed of sheep a few steps back in terms of demand. Beltex went even further and was used by farmers to strengthen the offspring of completely different creatures. It's believed that if a female mates with a Beltex, the lambs will be much stronger, healthier, and tougher. So no matter how strange, and in some places even ugly, this sheep may seem, it has in any case found a place in this world and is useful. That's about it. Write in the comments which creature surprised you most of all. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel.